Like, we will call to order the October 25th meeting of the Town of Carver Planning Board at 7:05 PM. If we would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We were recently reminded to pull our microphones close and speak clearly into them. Our first order of business is an approval not required. This approval not required is intended to create Lot 1 to remain as open space and not a buildable lot on High Street. Do we have anybody here to speak to that? Please. You're going to have to pull the microphone close to you.
Good evening, I'm Mark Benson from Beals and Thomas, the surveyor for this plan. It's an A&R plan off of High Street to remain as open space. And it's a piece of 80 Makepeace property that is going to be sold to a private owner.
All right, I see it's noted as not a buildable lot.
Correct, yep.
And which property is it being set and pulled off of?
Assessor map 3620R.
Oh, okay, yep, I see it here. This is almost entirely wetlands or bog area?
There is a lot of wetlands on site, yep.
All right. Any questions from the board? I'm going to give everybody a minute to review the plans. Is the Nemasket Trail a publicly accessible trail, or is it just a paper trail?
It appears on several record plans, but it's very overgrown. And there is sort of a lot that goes out towards High Street at the end of it, which it appears that lot or that parcel is remaining access to get to it, but I don't think anybody uses it on a regular basis.
It was more of a curiosity question. All right. This lot will be identified as not a buildable lot on the plans. Other than that, I'm satisfied. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, the board will accept a motion to approve. The approval not required to create Lot 1 to remain as open space, not a buildable lot on High Street. Map 36, Lot 20R.
I'll make said motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sordillo. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Robinson. Any discussion? Seeing none.
So, by not a buildable lot, does that prevent anything at all from going in there?
Or does it just prevent residential or business?
Well, it
Activity.
would, it would need to meet, frontage standards, and as High Street is the public road, and it is,
Oh, it's got plenty of frontage and stuff.
right, but it's inaccessible in regards to any buildable property on it, which is why, it will be,
Well, that's the question, is this going to be not buildable for anything or not buildable for
well, we're deeming
Residential
it
slash
as not,
building?
we're deeming it as not buildable in regards to that, so any potential development on the property would have to come back in regards to satisfying the conditions of frontage and access.
Wait, I have a question. Where it says lot one there, is that the bog? Or is that just all wetlands?
The lot one in the index map or in the full
In the
plan?
whole lot one here?
Right, that's the thicker black line that goes all the way around.
Well, my question is where it says R equals 1041.73, is that a road? Or is that part of,
Yeah, that's the frontage along High Street right there.
so is that a bog, that square too? That's right underneath all, the north 2726?
Yeah, basically those three front wetland areas are older bogs,
Okay,
and the wetlands way in the back are different, like a formerly, wooded wetlands. The ones in the front are like overgrown former bogs.
I'm all set.
All right, further discussion? Seeing none? Mr. Dion?
Mr. Dion says aye.
Mr. Gatsky?
John Gasky says aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Ms. Sardillo?
Ellen Sordillo says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bott has the Mylars, or,
I know we sent them to the town,
Okay.
so,
he'll be in contact
Sure.
with us, and hopefully we'll get them all signed immediately.
Right.
Thank you again.
thank you.
Mr. Chair, you want us to sign this and pass it?
We'll hold on to them
Okay.
for right now. Don't lose your copies, we'll sign them after the meeting. Our next order of business is a public hearing continued on the application of Prolio Concrete Forms, Inc., requesting a site plan review pursuant to sections 2230 and 3100 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at 04 Street in Carver, Mass., in the general business zoning district. Applicant proposes the construction of a single commercial building, associated utilities, stormwater controls, parking lot, and access drives. The building will be used as a craftsman tradesman building. Mr. Prolio, I see we have a new map in front of us. Were there changes made?
No, I believe we were gonna go with the original plan and just do the special permit as a condition. So, we should be back to the original plans that were reviewed.
Right, but these were presented yesterday. And I didn't know if any changes.
I think it was just the revisions on the lights and stuff, you wanted them marked out.
Yeah, I think so.
I was gonna request that. You see the vegetated buffer. I see the proposed fences on here. Did we update the landscaping plan?
I believe you did.
All right. Well, that hasn't been updated, but that's all right, we can make it conditional that, a landscaping plan be, approved through Fuss and O'Neill in regards to the front screening.
I think I might have talked to him after he submitted those ones, and he said he would, I think he was gonna, I'm not sure if he did, because I know he submitted those, and I asked him about the landscaping, and he thought it could be taken care of, just like you just said, so I'm not sure if he did or not.
Right. I don't see that he's identified a snow removal area, or were you planning on?
You said we had to go off-site because it was in the
You have to
watershed?
go outside, or it has to be introduced into the infiltration basin.
We were gonna take it off-site rather than,
Okay.
yes. Change
Yeah,
the,
I remember that discussion.
Mm. And the last thing is you have to, on your plans, you have to identify your storage area for materials. It must be screened from the road and the residential, and it has to be on a paved surface.
okay,
We just, on the plans, and Fuss and O'Neill can approve that too. Again, because you're in a wellhead protection area, it can't be on the gravel.
okay, yeah. And we did apply for the special permit, we put that in,
All
I
right.
think Tuesday, so.
Right. You are also going to have to provide a written request for a waiver for this, the site plan not being handled at the same time as the special permit, which is required under section 3124. Is that-
Okay. Well, so you're gonna need something from the engineer, because when we spoke the other day, it was just gonna be conditional. site
Well,
plan, so-
it's conditional, but you have to request a waiver in front of this. We can't just
Okay,
pull waivers out of, thin air, so this has to be at the request of you. But the condition will be that approval of the site, of the special permit, of the site plan is conditional on the special permit.
Oh.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Crowley?
Did you look into the sign, to put a sign up there?
we have, and we agreed we'll put in what you want on either end of the property. However, like I say, all we can really see is we put it on our property lines, I mean, if
Okay.
you want it somewhere else, we'll do whatever you want that way. That'll be something we have to work out with the town.
Oh, I have a question, two questions, actually. On your septic system, you have, it's supposed to be 50-foot vegetated buffer there. Did I hear right, you putting a fence up back there?
Yes.
Okay,
On the actual end of the property line past the vegetated area, though, so past the 50-foot, so. Like we spoke, that's, the elevation difference, I think, is 12 feet down that lot, so
okay.
they won't be.
So now my next question is, all right, so there's gonna be 5 separate businesses in there, correct? 4?
It really depends, somebody could come in and want 2 spaces. I don't know that. I know I'm taking the end the right-hand side, and then there's gonna be 3 bays,
Well-
I think, left, or 4 bays.
Would you speculate that because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there'd be 5 businesses then? I mean,
I'm not even dividing out that building until, you know, people come forward and lease it, so they
Yep.
might have a bigger space, is
Oh,
what
it-
I'm saying.
It has to be, the walls have to be built. I mean, that's,
In 5 units?
yep,
if that's what you're proposing, then that is what has to be done.
Okay, then there's 5 businesses.
Because we've run into that problem before, and it doesn't always work out.
so then my question is, if you would have an 18-wheeler in there, in one business, and another one shows up for another business, are they all gonna be able to fit on your property?
There's plenty of room in that property. You could drive around the building and park 4 or 5 tractor trailers. I mean, there's plenty of room on the property. Because there's a driveway around both sides of the buildings, plus the backyard. So, I mean, we have no problem keeping stuff off the street. We've still got it designed to drive around the building. So that allows traffic all the way around the backside of the building. We're not using the yard for like a storage yard, so there's gonna be plenty of room back there.
Any further questions from the board?
I'm also, that's on a condition I was concerned about.
Mr. Gatsky?
I'm good.
Mr. Adele?
I'll say.
I'm good.
All right, thank you, Mr. Prolio. This is a public hearing, so is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak in regards to this project? Seeing none? At this time, if there's no more information to introduce or evidence to
No,
introduce,
unless you just need something from me.
the board will accept a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made
second.
by Mr. Robinson, seconded by Ms. Sordillo. All right. At this time, we're gonna open it up for discussion in regards to the draft. And I see that the proposed draft does not include some of the conditions that were brought forward at the last meeting. And as a matter of clarification, Mr. Prolio, you said the hours of operation from 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, would be acceptable?
And I think like with a half a day Saturday.
And 8 to 4 on Saturday?
Yeah.
or- That's
it
fine.
is- it's-
2 to 4. All right.
Mr. Chairman, is this still part of the public hearing?
No, we've closed the public hearing,
Did
so,
you vote? I hear the
no,
section.
oh, you are correct, we haven't opened it for discussion. Is there any discussion on the closing of the public hearing? No, seeing none. Mr. Dion,
Mr. Dion says.
With-
aye.
to close the public hearing.
Close,
That's-
yeah.
That's
close-
the motion.
We're just closing the public
To
hearing.
close, to close the public hearing.
Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Mr. Sordillo.
Ellen Sedillo says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. Thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. All right. All right, so we have the draft proposal in front of us. We, as a process, will discuss the conditions and add or remove any as the board feels necessary by a simple majority vote. Does anybody have any issues with condition number 1 as listed? Prior to the issuance of a building permit, a true copy of the recorded decision as registered at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds shall be submitted to the Planning and Permitting Office. Any objections to condition number 2, the project must be conducted as approved in the site plan. Any other revisions will require approval from the board as a modification of this decision. Any objections? Nope. Nope. Number 3, any objections to condition number 3? The applicant is responsible for the proper operation and maintenance of the site. Seeing none, a special permit is required per section 4341 for any use where more than 10,000 square feet of any lot would be rendered impervious, excluding roadways, and this is conditional on approval of. Again, we discussed just putting in writing that you're requesting a waiver in regards to
Okay.
this.
Yep.
Section number 5, pursuant to sections 3213, 3215, screening from residential properties must be achieved and maintained year-round, as well as visual screening of all parking areas from Forest Street and abutting properties shall be established and maintained. A landscaping plan shall be sent to Fuss and O'Neill for approval in regards to this.
You're adding that?
Oh, right, because we discussed that the plantings up front were in year-round plantings, that they were various bushes and
Yep.
deciduous
No, I
trees.
understand. I'm just saying you're adding that.
But
That
no,
language
please.
isn't, that language isn't all.
Right, I'm putting it in here, so I'm asking you, if you have any objections,
No,
state,
I don't.
state them now. This is what this is about. Because some of them were left off, even though they were read
right.
at our last meeting, that they weren't included in this draft.
Doesn't the new plan show various bushes?
It shows various bushes and deciduous trees, and they have to be evergreens to provide year-round screening, and that's.
Various shrubs, various perennial flowers.
Any questions, comments, or objections? Number 6, only household quantities of any hazardous material are permitted. Discussion, questions, comments?
Nope.
Seeing none. Prospective tenants will need to consult with Carver Building and Fire officials prior to occupying their respective units. Any questions, any comments, any discussion? Number 8, truck deliveries shall be limited to box trucks. Trucks shall be prohibited from stopping, standing, or unloading on Forest Street. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Nope.
Mr. Robinson?
All set.
Oh, sir. Okay. The dumpster pad shall be bermed, and any runoff from the dumpster pad shall be contained to the catch basins on site. Number 9. Questions, comments, discussion? A vermin control plan shall be submitted to the Board of Health for the property. Any questions, comments, discussion? A bike rack per Carver zoning bylaws is required. Per Carver zoning bylaw 3131K, Separate sign application required where new signage is proposed, included at this site. And although I know we approved the building commissioner to handle most of these as part of the requirements of the site plan review, we are required to review them. But, so I would just as soon leave it to the building inspector, but I need the board's agreement on that.
Is that something we need to vote on, or?
I'm fine with voting on it. It's only gonna solve the matter and just cover all bases. So the board will accept the motion to accept that the building inspector in regards to this shall have approval power over the signage as long as it's not a variance in regards to our signing bylaws.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Gatsky,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Dion. This is another variance. I'm sorry, you are gonna have to write a letter and request that variance, but the board is,
What are we asking for a variance, just so I know what to tell Bob?
it's required that, that we expect you'll be applying for a sign.
Yeah.
That sign has to be included on the site plans according to our zoning bylaws.
Okay.
Because we're allowing the building inspector to handle it, then, that's a variance, and
Okay.
we're just, the board is willing to accept it, you just need to
So
put
we're
it.
just trying to request a variance for the building inspector to be able to okay the sign? Is that what you're saying?
The motion was, to allow the building inspector to handle approval of your sign permit
Okay.
applications.
Okay.
And, you have a motion and a second, Mr. Dion?
I second it.
No. We're
What's your-
opening for a vote.
Oh, Mr. Dion says aye.
Mr. Gatsky?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Sardillo?
Aye.
Mr. Shea says aye. Number 13 is pretty standard, clearing up any balances, as-built plans, and the town engineer shall give final inspection of the project to ensure it's been completed in compliance. Objections?
Nope.
Discussion? All right. We've also established that the hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 8 to 4. Agreement, objections, discussion? No.
Nope.
This is part of the Carver zoning bylaws, but it's going to be part of your conditions also. Lights are allowed a half an hour before and after hours, before and after business hours. I don't expect objections, but we can open it for discussion, because every site's different. You would prefer some no removal, or would you like the option of us saying snow removal must be removed or infiltrated through your basin with the approval of Fuss and O'Neill?
I guess if Fuss and O'Neill will approve it with our drainage calcs that we have there, I would like that.
Right, I
Right,
take that
exactly.
option,
It's-
yeah.
It gives us, at least if it, you know, if it meets stormwater and everything's good, that'd be much better.
The more options, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
All good? It is gonna have to be noted on the building that the building is prohibited from public access because you don't have wheelchair access and various other incidentals that would require. I saw the fence is added to the plans. Storage of materials must be screened from the road and the residential agricultural district to the maximum amount feasible on a paved surface, and it also has to be an area has to be identified on the plans, pending the approval by Fuss and O'Neill.
Okay.
And, I think we covered the screening landscaping plan, so, does anybody have any questions, concerns in regards to this? Because, procedurally, we've done our discussions. If you have questions, concerns, or discussion, it should happen now, because next meeting we will be opening it for vote, and you should be prepared in that matter. This is gonna be the, approved draft that will be brought to the next meeting. All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prolio. We will be voting on this at the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
all right, thanks.
All right, our next order of business is preliminary subdivision plan, AD Makepeace Company, Wankinko 0 and 46 Federal Road. Continuance is requested until December 13th at the request of the applicant. Topics not reasonably anticipated by the chairman 48 hours in advance in this meeting.
Real quick, this is one that we've already agreed to,
This is
That
the
continu-
draft
the continuance.
proposal. Well,
No, talking about the continuance, this,
All right, so-
the continuance for.
they've requested it, and typically, being the super generous, friendly people that we are, if
Yep.
an applicant requests it,
Right,
we will agree to it, and
Yep.
it doesn't require a vote. Unless somebody objects to it. If somebody objects to it, then we would bring it to a
just want to make
vote.
sure that we have our bases
So the
covered.
objection is noted.
Do we need to sign anything on that?
We will be signing the A&R plans when we're done here.
Taking them out of our pack.
Yes, and at some point, we'll be discussing getting a single signature on those. All right, topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Sorry we were late. Other than that, I don't think there was anything. Planning director notes, planning board member notes. I do. So, certain concerns were brought up at last week's meeting, and I would like to address them. I would like to address certain concerns that were raised at our last meeting. We, as a board, have a responsibility to consider the bigger picture. Our bylaws don't tell us what to do, they tell us how to do it. Our master plan is the overriding principle on what we do. I believe that the planning board and planning department should take great care to assess the overriding principles of our master plan in relation to any project before us. It is of utmost importance that we do not disregard the master plan that is designed to protect and preserve our community through responsible growth and community development. We balance the interests and safety of the residents with not only the project, but with those of the town itself. Some of the core goals repeatedly outlined in our master plans are the preservation and enhancement of our community character and environmental protection, which takes second place only to the health and safety of not only the residents, but also the visitors to our town. We must protect our town's character while responding to the challenges of growth. The master plan warns that it is unlikely Carver will ever have enough economic development to offset residential development, and that we may not like the community that would result. It further states that we must balance growth while minimizing negative impacts on Carver's small-town character and environment. The master plan states, successful local businesses are assets to the town and are necessary parts of Carver's fiscal and economic health. However, commercial operations and business expansions need not adversely impact Carver's water resources, wildlife habitats, roadways, town services, or overall character. I would request that the board take time to refamiliarize themselves with both the original master plan and the updated version. You will find the overriding concerns and desires of the community remain steadfast throughout both documents, and both are designed to accomplish these goals by utilizing strategies whose underlying foundation is that of maintaining the small-town rural character, health, safety, and environment through responsible growth and development that is appropriate to our community. And that's just how I feel, and that's the basis of the decisions I make in regards to most projects. Everything is a balance, and the interest of the proponent, the town, and the residents have to be balanced and weighed. And in regards to the master plan that was approved by the town, it has to be given weight as to the larger picture on issues. That being said, our next order of business is approval of minutes of 9/27. I personally haven't received them, but we haven't had given our recorder sufficient time to put them forward. So, open it up for discussion among the board.
As far as what?
Just general?
One thing real quick, Carver Cowboys, Mites, and Pee-wees, and the Midgets, we're closing in on the end of the season and heading towards the playoffs, so come out, root for your little guys.
Amen.
Seeing no further discussion, the board will accept a motion for adjournment.
I'll make said motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sordillo,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Robinson. Any discussion?
What about the minutes?
Were they included in your packet? Because
Yeah.
I did not get a copy of
Yeah,
them,
it-
so I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, it was in my packet.
I didn't
No,
get
it was not in my
them, so.
packet.
No, I didn't get them either.
All right, so
Oh,
we
aren't you special, Mr. Dion?
We can continue the minutes till next meeting.
Yes, we've
Okay.
continued those.
Then,
Um,
Mr. Dion says aye then.
Mr. Catsidy,
John Gasky says aye.
Mr. Robinson,
Robinson says aye.
Ms. Sordillo.
Says aye.
Excellent. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.